What's good, man? It's your boy Juicy J, man. Shout out to Virtual Homework Podcast.
What's up, everyone?
This is the Virtual Homework Podcast.
I did my all, okay? I went through and I said, what's up, everyone? I even had a little voice crack, okay? Because I was so enthusiastic, and you come in here with a, what's up, everyone?
We just gotta bring it back every once in a while, you know? So, people sometimes they come to our podcast just to relax. They don't need that, like, what's up, that kind of energy. They just need to, chill out, relax.
You know what? They're probably not chill because I have actually blue-balled our listeners.
Oh, man.
Sorry for using a gendered term there, but I've blue-balled our listeners on multiple occasions.
Podcast
the last
sexual.
two out of the last two podcasts in a row, I've said the same exact joke at the end. Find out next time on the Virtual Homework Podcast, and then. Two times ago with the ignition factor, we forgot to even mention that last podcast, but I'll at least give people the satisfaction.
What happens next time?
This is where we have to pause and I have to listen to the podcast because I completely forgot. So on the ignition factor episode, you said that the entire country of Brazil would tune into our next episode if you shouted out that one person from Brazil.
Yeah.
I guess technically we didn't blue ball the audience in that we had to release the episode and see how many people listened to episode 39, which had more viewers than episode 38.
Saying.
People did not like the ignition factor, I'll say that much.
I'm just saying.
So we have the prophet Dana in the house, but the much more important, much more pertinent tune in next time was from last week's Star Sector, where I said, what is your Diet Coke button? And you gave me an answer, which I actually don't remember at all at this point. A week is a very long time, especially a week like this.
I said Starbucks unsweetened peach tea.
That was exactly what you said. Wow, you're consistent at least. Your mind's in the right place from week to week.
It's delicious.
And then I said, I would do it next time on the podcast with the expectation that I would actually think about it for the entire week. And I will give people a spoiler. I completely forgot until I looked at my notes for this podcast and saw exactly what we're talking about today. So let's actually, can you give me some Jeopardy music? Can you give me some music while I actually think about this? I guess it would be a ramen button. I would feel absolutely terrible after a while, but
it gets
it can't be a ramen button.
It gets coagulated. What if it's
cold?
It's
why would it be cold? Why would
gel?
it not be good ramen? Jesus, are you expecting the White House butler, the Diet Coke button? You just give me expired ramen that someone made the other day?
I'm thinking more of how what's that one movie? Where they have the water fountain that has Hawaiian Punch in it with Adam Sandler, something like that. But
Billy Madison.
Yeah, but no, I don't think Billy Madison.
Happy Gilmore.
No.
Little Nicky.
No.
What?
He's rich.
Oh, Mr. Deeds.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah.
But I for some reason I was just thinking coagulated ramen water coming out of it.
Jesus.
It sounds disgusting.
Yeah, I guess the implication of a Diet Coke button, even though technically we said any food item, it should be a drink. So I shouldn't say ramen unless I want to drink ramen broth all day.
I feel like you like blueberry flavored things with other accentuations, because a lot of things you're drinking are blueberry pomegranate or blueberry something.
He's literally seeing the seltzer I'm drinking right now.
I like Aha. You said that's the best flavor.
The blueberry acai or whatever it is, Aha is pretty good, but I would probably say it would be a seltzer, but it would probably be the bubbly cherry seltzer. There we go. There's your answer. There, you got your answer. I know everyone was super.
For some reason, I just think if there's a
this.
button, it's just flowing from the ceiling. You get completely slimed, but with your beverage of choice.
I mean, some people are actually legitimately. There is a slime fetish on the internet. You don't want to see it. I've seen too much in my youth.
Let me take a look. I'm not looking.
It's paused.
I'm not.
Okay. He chickened out. I called his bluff there, but. On a more somber note, what did we play this week?
I guess it's somber, but it's not at the same time. It's more
It's depressing.
it's sobering, I guess. We played George Orwell's Animal Farm, the video game.
Yeah, which, like, when you think about things that should be made a video game, do you really think Orwell's Animal Farm is the best choice?
I mean, yes and no. I think it's a very good story. Like, I have the book, but it's...
You have the book. Did you read the book in, like,
No.
high school or something?
No, I have it, but I'd never read it. I just know the
Okay.
story because my dad was like, you need to read this to learn about life. He gave me a bunch of books that I'd never read.
So the thing is, like, Animal Farm, it was actually apparently written by a socialist, but it's like it was written by a socialist or communist, one of the two factions, and it
Yeah.
was like an anti-Stalinist propaganda book. So
Yeah.
it's generally considered a like big piece in like the anti-communist propaganda. And because of that, you actually saw like really funny, like terrible reviews on the Steam page for this game. It's like anti-communist trash, like from people who are like on like some sort of like political spectrum.
Yeah, who are like way too left or something like that, or way too right or whatever.
Yeah. The game is inherently political, so it's gonna like give political.
So for those that don't know, Animal Farm is a book in which the animals, I guess, are somewhat sentient on a farm, and they basically want to start working for themselves. They decide that they are, constantly worked hard by humans, that they are not able to reap the rewards of their labor that the humans do. The humans are lazy, like they forget to feed them. So they chase off the farmer and say, hey, we're going to do it better. We're going to treat ourselves with respect and govern ourselves.
And part of this is that like all animals are equal on the farm, and there you get your communist themes.
That's not true, just like communism.
Yeah, there we go. Political statements, #political podcast. But no, so like it's like they're trying to all animals be equal because there's leaders and followers, like it eventually goes out of whack, and then you basically see the consequences of creating this animal farm. Someone was like, this book, let's make a video game out of it. It literally like takes the plot of the book and makes it into a game, which it's a very faithful adaptation.
It's essentially a choose your own adventure in which you can kind of, I guess, go down the certain path in which to get to the end that you want, whether it can be like maybe it's a positive experience for all the animals, or maybe it's a negative experience. Maybe only certain animals are exploited and other ones, reap the rewards. There's like 8 different endings. I got 2 of them, but how far did you beat the game?
So I got, I guess, like a year 7 ending. The game has 7 years, and then like I got a much worse ending where I just like intentionally tried to like fuck everything up as much as
I did
possible.
the same thing the second time.
Yeah, because I had less attachment to the characters. But the thing is, when I first started playing this game, I was actually very scared. I'm like, did I just fucking give Dana a book assignment? Because like this game starts out with like basically an explanation of the plot of Animal Farm, and it actually doesn't get into gameplay until...
I genuinely like this kind of stuff. Like I think we've both decided that we love like word heavy point and click adventure type shit, and this is kind of like choose your own adventure.
True, but at the same time, like this was like very heavy, like nearly entirely visual novel based for like the first half an hour. But once you get past that, it actually gets into the actual game elements of the game. The game elements of the game, the actual gameplay. And I wouldn't liken it to a visual novel at this point. I would almost like say it's like a weirdly laid out tower defense game where you have to like stock. Tower defense is like not the right word, but like you have to stock up on your resources, and then you like you go against wave of enemy, whether that's the winter because there's like a seasonal based time aspect of this game, and it goes in years or seasons, or the humans could come back and fight you. So if you fortify against the humans, you're sacrificing your food for just general labor around the farm.
You basically just need to decide where to work on at any given point. Strengthen up your weak points, whether that's food or like you were saying defenses, or maybe you want to study more to make everybody learn about reading or other things, or trading, or maybe you want to propagandize your religion? I'm not sure.
Animalism.
Animalism. I'm not sure if that's a religion or what. That's just their way of life called animalism, which you can propagandize by having the birds go to other farms, or having the animals preach and stuff like that. I guess I'm just gonna come out and say it. Like, a lot of this game felt like it didn't matter. It was like 70% of the choices were just the same choices for 7 years, and then like 5 of the choices any given year were like actually meaningful.
Yeah, so which ending did you get? And okay, so wee spoilers. I mean, like the thing is, like this is based on the book, so I feel like some of the outcomes are also based on the book. Which
I mean, I hate to say this is like a 40-year-old book, so if you're getting spoiled on something 40 years old, I'm sorry.
well, still, there's been sirens this entire time. You know, this is spoiler zone. What ending did you get?
So I think I just got like the generic bad ending where like none of it just like hit 7 years without what's it called, not having like the original people, like just hit 7 years. That's it.
Napoleon takes over is the big ending I got.
Yeah, I didn't get that one. Napoleon actually died in my playthrough.
Shit.
Yeah, my problem with, so there are lots of characters. You can unlock characters. You can get achievements. There's different things along the way you can do to get, there's like a handbook in game to get like patches.
Which actually like spoils stuff because you could like see different outcomes if you like look into further years. But just to go back on your point regarding like the outcomes not mattering, like yeah, I kind of agree in that. Like I feel like half the choices were obvious. You like don't have enough food, you literally have to get food or everyone's gonna die.
Or it's like the horse is constantly like, oh, I can't keep doing this anymore, I might die, and then it's like, all right, well, I'm just gonna make you not do it anymore.
Yeah, and then like 1 in every 3 choices is like, should I make the hens happy? Should I make the pigs happy? Etc.
It looks like it had a very good ideas. I just felt like the execution was, I don't want to say lazy, and that's a really poor word because I think there's a lot of effort that went into this game. It just, like, for example, some of the choices, like, there's no difference in any of them. It felt like there was no way to tell what was going to happen from what. It's like, oh, do you want to work today? Or, you know, hail Satan. Like, there's really no in between for trying to figure out what the fuck you want to do.
Yeah, I mean, part of this I feel was that they didn't understand what they wanted to do with the game. They either like wanted to have this resource management based game, or they really wanted to follow the story of Animal Farm, and like they really teeter between this visual novel and this like resource management game to the point where like it kind of lacks in both. I'm basically doing the same thing year after year, just kind of like struggling to get by, and like there's like the meetings
points
that you have as a group like go by the wayside, and then it's just like it's kind of a slog till you get to an ending. Like I don't know. I feel like the game should have probably just been a visual novel.
Yeah, I agree with that. They tried to do like the choose your own adventure thing, and it's like, I feel like unless you already knew what choices did what, it's like you would just miss out on like half the fun in the game. Like you're looking at some of the endings where it's like, oh, the dogs, you know, take over and do this, blah 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 blah. It's like, well, how do I get to that? It just felt like none of the choices I made felt like I was going towards a greater goal. They just all seemed super generic. Like I couldn't direct the game like in a certain direction because just everything.
I definitely felt some of the choices were not intuitive. Like I like saw in the journal like, oh, what can I do to get this? And it's like I have no idea how this is gonna happen. It was just kind of like by random chance I was like, oh, this will do this, and then it's like, okay, I guess I'll get this achievement now. You actually got an achievement I didn't get. I didn't get to see every single person in the game, which you got, which is actually a relatively rare achievement. I missed a single human being, and I don't even know how that was.
So it's like it's funny because in my second playthrough I immediately got like this text I didn't get until like year 7 in like my previous playthrough, and I was like, I don't know what I did differently. So I don't know, like this game's kind of cool. It's kind of in the realm of games I do like to play. Like I love this kind of like story driven, like choose your adventure type shit with like some sort of not necessarily mystery, but just like how you can see how like the story evolves and stuff like that. I just feel like it was kind of poorly executed.
I feel like it was a little too slow. Like the thing is, there's a certain type of game that really excels at motivating me to play it over and over again, and this is just not it. Like, no, this game is one of these games where you really don't get the full experience unless you play this like a lot. Like we're talking like 10 plus times to completion, because a campaign for this game takes maybe about an hour and a half to 2 hours, and like
it's not that long.
To get all 7 exits or 7 endings, you're probably not going to be getting one every single time you play through, so you want to do it over and over again. But the only games that motivate me to actually play through for a second time are games that are like super arcadey, games where like I'm not like heavily invested into a single campaign, I feel. And
like games where you just feel yourself getting better at. I really don't feel like you can get better at this game. It's just like you're deciding just to take other choices. There's really not much.
Yeah, unless I literally wrote down my choices. I'm like, oh, what happened here? And I'm just not motivated to play this game more than a couple of times.
I really like the subject matter, though. I think taking Animal Farm was a very interesting Because at a core, I think Animal Farm is a very interesting story. Kind of, you know, how like the animals rise up and they kind of become the things that they hated. They started saying things like, oh, you know, all beings on two legs are bad. All four fucking footed animals are good. But then it's like later the pigs start trying to stand on two things. The pigs start trying to wear clothes, trying to be human, you know, stuff like that. And everyone's like, well, what the fuck? Isn't this all against like what we said? And, you know, and you could kind of see how they like the rules change over time. But other than that, like the physical gameplay, I was like,
yeah, I thought it was actually surprisingly good, faithful adaptation of Animal Farm. Like I mentioned, like on a more somber note, and the reason I said that initially, like when we were starting the podcast, was that this game is like super, super depressing to play, and I feel like that captures the mood of the game very well, because it just feels dire no matter what. It's like, oh, either the infrastructure is going to fail and like the roofs are going to leak, or we're going to like lose our windmill to attackers, or everyone's going to starve, etc., etc. This game was absolutely depressing to play.
What happened to me, like everyone was like, it was like the farm is jubilant for like 6 years, like that, like everyone was super happy. It's like I had food, everything was repaired, and then like randomly like 3 people died, and then it's like, all right, you get the bad ending. I'm like, oh cool, I didn't know that pressing this one button at this point would kill people.
Get wrecked, noob.
Yeah, pretty much.
This is like a weird case where I came into this game with like both low and relatively high expectations. I will say this game, I'm not going to call this like one of the better games I've played on the podcast. I'm going to say this is pretty much solidly down the middle. I think this game looks and feels pretty great. I think that like besides a few like laggy aspects from the cursor movement, like I definitely was not disappointed in like the actual like experience, but it's probably just not something I'd go back to.
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same realm. Like I think it's cool, but I don't see myself trying to get some of these other endings.
Yeah, and like there's like an achievement for like getting every single stamp in that journal. There's like absolutely no way I'm going and getting that, especially due to the fact that like this game is relatively new. It came out in December, but like people didn't really pick it up that much, which is a little disappointing. I feel like this game does deserve more love than it got, but I don't think I'm gonna go blind into these achievements and like try to get them when like no one else has.
This would be a game I could see myself playing if it had more than 5 achievements. If it had like all the things that in the game that like you have like your stamps in the handbook to collect, those should all just be achievements. So then it's like something.
I mean,
they
kind of are, right? Like it doesn't matter if they're in
any,
Steam.
But so when you beat your playthrough, they're all reset.
No, but like there's a like you could see a silhouette of them that shows who've gotten them in the past.
Oh, I didn't notice. I guess.
Yeah, it was kind of hard to notice, but like I was like, oh, okay, that's pretty smart, because like you could get them again.
Listen,
and be
it doesn't
like,
matter
cool.
unless other people can see that I've gotten them. Okay.
Yo, what's your gamer score, bro?
I'm like low level.
Yeah, actually, I have like like the thing is like my gamer score was high when I was playing Xbox 360, and then like my friends who continued to play on the Xbox was like, yeah, my gamer score is like 80,000. I'm like, oh, that's way higher than I will ever achieve in my life.
Pretty degenerate. I mean, I have like literally 1,400 days played in World of Warcraft, so
yeah, if we're talking like degenerate, I was like walled up in my bed for like most of last week. I wasn't like sick, but I had this like weird like spell of fatigue, so I was like kind of sick. I do not have COVID. I will say that much, but like I'm better now.
Do you know what that's called? Like, it's called getting old.
No. This was like it wasn't just me generally being tired. It was like something like I actually got like some weird spell. Not weird, like it was not like a fucking like shamanistic spell. It was like actually like I caught something. I don't know what. I literally like could not get up. It was like that bad. And like as part of that, I noticed that this game was mobile, and I'm like, you know what? Oh, fuck it. I already bought the game on desktop, but I don't feel like sitting in my chair.
Wait, this game's on mobile?
Yeah, I actually bought the mobile version of this game, which is significantly cheaper. I think the Steam version is either $10 or $15. I want to say 10. I don't want to like
see, that like changes things for me. Like I think this would be perfect as a cell phone game.
Yeah, so the cell phone version I think was like $4, which honestly, like I see it not being super popular because games that don't have a free version that are $4 are not going to be sold that much. But I was surprised how close they were. Like they're almost literally the same game. The main complaint I have is that I couldn't find a way to get the game into landscape mode. You're playing portrait mode on your phone. Like what the fuck?
Oh, that's like terrible.
It's terrible, and I thought there were some performance issues on an iPhone 10, which I was surprised about because I hadn't had performance issues on other games. But I think if they get those kinks worked out, this is, and I know that people aren't doing this now, but like, have you ever been on like a plane and it's like, fuck, I didn't bring a book or something, and I don't have music. Like, I'm gonna have to like find some games that are like offline on my phone to play.
So funny story. If I am in any moving vehicle or even like walking, if I look at a phone or read anything, instant migraine where I can't see and I start throwing up.
Even on the plane?
Yep.
Okay. Well,
I could never play Game Boy or anything in the car as a kid. Like if someone's like, "Hey, could you check an address for me when we're driving?" and I look at my phone, like I have like a 60% chance of getting like a debilitating migraine.
Sucks, man. I mean, like I understand that in cars, but in planes where like I feel like I'm not moving at all, that's a little bit of a different story. I think this is definitely a perfect plane game. Like there was this other game like Rimdasil or something like with a really weird name that I remember I play on planes because like it's just like I've already played the game multiple times.
I don't
it's
play
like
any rimming games on planes, okay?
Okay, well, I could see myself
rimming
on a plane playing this game. Rimming on a plane? What do you say?
That's what you said.
No, what did you say?
I said, don't worry what I said. You'll see when you edit it.
All right, I guess I'll see when I edit it. But yeah, perfect playing game out of 10. I don't know. Like, that's about what I would consider the initial game, too. Like, it's not... It's not great.
What are the reviews on this? Like, does it say overwhelmingly positive?
I don't think so. Like, the thing is, I don't ever trust. You ever like Google a game and then like the Steam preview on Google says like 9 out of 10, and then it's just like, oh, it got a bunch of positive reviews. Like, a positive review on Steam is not a glowing recommendation. No. For some reason, Steam treats it as like a 10 out of 10 sometimes.
It says recent reviews mostly positive. This game has like only like 60 reviews. Like, not a lot of people have played this game.
Yeah, one of the reasons this was on my radar was because I was like looking up newer games and like I wonder what's coming out, and like I saw this maybe like 6 months ago and I'm like, oh, that seems pretty cool. So I like kept it on my radar. I like saw that it was out, and like it didn't really generate the buzz that I expected. I don't know. I feel like generally like games these days, like they're more marketing than like there are so many good games, and if you don't have a good marketing team, then your game's just not going to be successful. I feel like that was
how many games out there do you think that are like $4 that are just like masterpieces, or like games that you would have genuine fun with, versus like these $50 games that have massive ad campaigns? Like, what was that game on Twitch that they did the fucking ad campaign with the emotes, and it like isn't that good?
Oh god, fucking.
This could have been a $5 game, to be honest, on Steam. Do you think so?
Yeah, so like Hyperscape with their massive ad campaign. I like there's a difference between ad campaign and then just paying streamers to play your game, because like I literally was inquiring about a game today, some horror game called Made, I think, that like I just saw a clip on live stream fails and someone getting scared. I'm like, oh, this would be great for my girlfriend. I want to buy this game. And like that was completely organic advertising. Like I'm not like, oh, this emote is amazing, I want to fucking play this game.
I feel like that's so much better, to be honest. If I see someone playing something that looks really fun to me, that's so much better than like a curated ad campaign. That's why I think like paying like that same $50K to get streamers to play something, you'll get way more out of it than doing some sort of targeting ad campaign.
Yeah, but I could see Orwell's Animal Farm having a hard time getting like an ad campaign.
Like XQC playing it. Like,
yeah. No,
like
okay. I could actually see XQC playing this game of just like absolutely like just not understanding it at all.
That would actually
he might get bored initially. Yeah.
No, I think that would be really entertaining.
Yeah. Like he would completely like gloss over like the undertones in this game, like what it's actually trying to say, and just be like, fuck it, gonna make these pigs happy. Like, I don't know.
I mean, this game is basically like power absolutely corrupts, you know?
Yeah.
So
no, I definitely agree with the statement that this game had succeeded in the message it was trying to convey. It was whether or not like that was done in an entertaining way. I think that's where it lacks.
I was entertained. It was just short, and the torches didn't feel very meaningful until they were. So
if I really wanted to get value out of this game, I would. But I play a lot of games, and I'm not going to.
Yeah, we're gamer boys.
That's pretty much the end of the story here. Like if we're talking about streamers and getting bang for your buck, why don't you just like say?
I'm not saying a racial slur. That's what you're.
Oh my god! No, okay. That was a terrible transition, and that was a terrible transition. I wasn't sure what I wanted to go into, but I'm rolling the dice, and I'm actually saying we're going one way. I was gonna go the Dogecoin way, but I'll go this way. So if we're talking about streamers and I don't know, trying to get them to say what you want to say, did you hear about the ninja news in the last week?
I'm just, people try having like their hot takes on shit, and it's just like, when you're that big, I don't know, you should just kind of keep shit to yourself. I don't know.
Do you actually know what I'm talking about right now?
He said something about parents like beating their kids or something like that.
Jesus Christ, no, he actually said like the most lukewarm take possible. I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, Ninja did not do anything bad. I feel like the backlash on Ninja was actually unwarranted. He did not talk about beating children. Oh my god. Ninja,
it was
basically
just like so irrelevant to me that I'm just like, I gotta look this up now.
Okay, let's like not beat around the bush. There was like way bigger news than this, but we're leading up to it, okay?
All right,
but no, Ninja came out with a statement because there were basically a lot of people saying, "Oh, Ninja has to like go and be in support of this movement. Ninja has to like outcry against XYZ." And Ninja basically came out and said like, "Hey, I'm a human being. I may not even know about some of this stuff. Like, yes, I think racism is wrong. Yes, I think like I denounce these racists, but it shouldn't be on me to denounce racism constantly. If you are a parent, you should teach your children about racism and why it's bad instead of looking at me as a teacher telling your student or telling these kids that racism is bad." Like, basically people were upset with him because he wasn't like aligning himself with certain movements, even though it's obvious like from looking at Ninja's career that he's against racism.
Well, but it's like, how many times do you have to say you're against racism to be against racism? Like, you need to say it like, what's your quota? 3 times a week? Like,
well, it's not a quota on like instances per time, but like I know people who like legitimately thought if you didn't come out and actually say you were against like George Floyd being killed, then you were a racist. And it's like, no, like I just don't. I personally did actually say something about George Floyd.
Yeah.
You could totally be against George Floyd being killed by police officers without posting on social media. That is like pure virtue signaling for a lot of people, honestly.
It's just my problem with a lot of stuff is people like, oh, you need to do this, do that. It's like, well, you're shitting on me for not like speaking up against stuff, but what are you doing?
True. I mean, like, a lot of the times the people who are criticizing people for not speaking out are actually doing a lot of stuff, but not everyone has to be an activist. No. And I feel like if everyone was an activist, like the idea of activism would be
I think the general thought decreased. Of saying, yeah, these things are bad, and it's like the statement shouldn't be, well, if you're not saying these things are bad, you think these things are good. Like, that's kind of insane to me.
Yeah, but at the same time, I was just very surprised I agreed with Ninja on something, because I think Fortnite is bad, and I think dabbing in Times Square is also bad.
Yeah, that's actually like
flossing, not dabbing.
The cringe of the century is doing that. I mean, it's pretty fantastic, but yeah, that is kind of like the most like non-hot take ever. And are people just like running him through the mud for it?
Oh, people were like so upset that like I remember I was looking through this Twitter trend. I mean, like obviously, if you're looking at Twitter, you're gonna see like the worst of humanity. Yeah, but. Like, yeah, we saw, like, people shitting on Arby's when in reality, Arby's does not deserve to be shit on. I had potato cakes today. I went through the drive-thru because I was like, I'm sorry for not being responsible during COVID and going through a drive-thru. I had a mask, I had hand sanitizer. But anyway, I was going to the store and then I went to the Arby's drive-thru and then I got 4 potato cakes and I ate them.
Were they delicious?
They were delicious. I got Arby's sauce and horsey sauce. That's it. Ooh. Like $2.60 purchase.
But I don't care what anyone says. Arby's is fucking delicious.
Yeah, I agree with that. But no, Twitter was dunking on Arby's and also dunking on Ninja because they were like, Ninja, you are a massive content creator. It is your responsibility to teach people about X, Y, and Z. It's like, no, I play Fortnite. I think a parent should tell their kid, like, hey, this racism happened. And it's like, I agree with that. Yeah. However, I probably would use different words than, hey, this racism happened to my kid.
Yeah, I mean, it's a matter of, yeah, I guess you have a platform, but it's like, how many times does he need to say? I'm pretty sure in the past he's like denounced like horrible things and stuff, like a lot of people with massive platforms do. But you need to be constantly saying it for everything that comes out to say like this. It's like, if everyone is talking about it, then obviously people are already aware, and him saying anything doesn't really do anything.
It's one of those things where I feel like the people who are outraged probably also like they're not like watching Ninja 24/7. Like they like need a clip of him saying it, or else they don't think he aligns himself in that regard. Yeah. I feel like most people, especially most like relatively well-off people in the Twitch and YouTube spheres, like agree politically. Like obviously there's a large right-wing base on YouTube, and there probably is a larger right-wing base on Twitch than I expect, but like the vast majority of like the largest creators like aren't going to like be venturing very, very far from your views. It's just they don't have to say literally every single bad thing is bad for them to agree with you.
Bad things are bad. That is
bad
true.
Things are bad. I'll say that much. I mean, like, is Dogecoin good?
Dude, we're gonna be millionaires this time next week, and then we're gonna have to stop doing this podcast, or we're gonna do our podcast in Bali instead.
Yeah. Every single week, I like link Dana at different locations. Like, sorry, we're filming here. It's like some like fucking like random statue in like Glasgow, or just like some random or like the capital of Laos, Vientiane.
You always like send me like the most like like, hey, here's this cliff in like the Indonesia. We're gonna be there tomorrow. Be there. It's like, oh yeah, it's
like a recording there. Like, there's either two ways this could go. Either I could lose the $2,000 I just invested, or I could have like $70,000 and it'll
I feel like it's
make
a
my life
pretty
better.
Safe investment based on like the trends and stuff like that.
No, it is like the definition of it is not. This is a gamble. You know, it's a gamble. Neither of us are financial advisors.
Safe
okay,
gamble. Listen,
listen. This roulette wheel, you have a 2/3 chance to win. Ignore what happens in the 1/3 where you lose all your money.
Listen, I'm gonna start selling gambling advice on the Patreon.
Okay, that sounds illegal. That sounds like we have to like talk to the SEC, but go for it. We'll set the Patreon really high so the SEC they're not willing to pay the fees.
Gambling Dana says, if all else fails, let it ride.
Sure, I don't even know what that means, but I will say, if for some reason one of us was a millionaire, there would definitely be a set. You'd have a video podcast. It'd be dope. Yeah, I will say that much. So hope that Dogecoin goes to the moon. I hope that I just don't lose $2,000. I'm actually pretty nervous.
Yeah, I mean, like
shitting my pants constantly.
The news cycle has been completely dominated by all this stock shit with like GameStop and AMC, Dogecoin, and stuff like that. You kind of it just seems like these trends for this year are so insane. It goes from like insurrection to this to this last
to COVID. Is that new?
Well, just like it's just constant insanity. It's always like one extreme after the other, and nothing is ever okay.
I mean, like, I really think that people don't realize, like, I don't know, every single year since like 2012, people have been like, oh, this year's so much crazier than last year. Oh, this year's crazier than last year. I feel like part of that's the information age, like just people like being more aware of the shit that's happening around them.
Like,
and like,
I
feel like part of it is that like it's really not that much crazier than the previous years. History happens every single day. It's just that like it's like, oh shit, this is crazy, and like we just like have that reaction constantly.
Well, you say it's like the information age, like we've been informationalating for quite some time now.
No, but like even in the information age, like we could say we were on the internet in 2000, but like we didn't have as much of awareness of the world as we do now.
Well, but like you could say at least with the past 10 years, we've had pretty wide awareness. Most people have like the entire world, you know?
No, but what I'm trying to say is like things are crazy, but every year has been crazy, and I feel like people forget that. Like people are like, oh, 2019 sucked, all these celebrity deaths, and then it's like 2020 I had all 2020 is probably going to be a little bit worse than normal because of the whole fucking pandemic. Actually, R.I.P. Larry King. I'm actually really sad about that.
Yeah, that actually does suck.
But like, no, it's more about people who are growing up on the internet, like realizing that the people that they watched as kids are old and they are going to die. It's not necessarily that like people are dying at a higher rate than normal. Sans pandemic. If there wasn't a pandemic, I could say this.
Yeah. But it just like it's an inevitability. I'm still upset that Steve Irwin died. Like more than anything.
I think everyone's still upset about that. Luckily, his son's pretty cool. I'm not sure if you've been watching him. I forget his name. I will say that I'm hoping that people thank me for completely derailing this Dogecoin GME whatever conversation, because I am 100% on the train that this shit sucks to talk about. Because once you understand the situation, it's like, okay, this is pretty crazy. For those who don't know, GameStop stock was bought by the subreddit Wall Street Bets due to the fact that there was a large public short position by Melvin Capital. Because Melvin Capital had this public short position, basically people on Wall Street Bets said, we're going to take this to the moon. They kept buying stock. When you have multiple millions of people buying stock, it sends the price up. Now, due to the fact that Melvin Capital has to buy back their stock at a higher rate to recoup their losses, it drives it up further into a short squeeze. We've all heard this simplified version on many, many different content creators' walls. Anyway, like, I don't know. Once you hear that, it's just a bunch of people saying, whoa, this is crazy. And like, yeah, whoa, this is crazy.
I think
like,
it's kind of over, though. Like, I think any sort of like insane gains to be had with any of this shit, I don't see going on much further. I find kind of like the after effects a lot more interesting than the actual like event itself. Kind of with like the, how like Robinhood was like limiting trading and how people are saying that that's in itself is market manipulation. How like some of Congress is getting involved and like the precedent it's going to set. I feel like that's a lot more interesting of a conversation to have than like it's so crazy, people making money off of GameStop, right? Like
I will say that the meme that the app literally named Robinhood is not letting the poor steal from the rich.
It's pretty good.
But I will also say that, like, maybe the reason I'm sick of it, one is because everyone is talking about it, and like we literally are not financial advisors. We have nothing to add. Things that we could talk about, like about GameStop, you've also already heard before or heard like a better opinion than we have. But what I will say,
I say we
really
have the best opinion.
Okay, you have the best opinion. What is it? Buy Dogecoin, which is
buy Dogecoin, so ours goes up.
Yeah, so Dana could make money off your money. But no, the reason why I really hate this stuff, I don't know, like I'm not gonna call myself fucking like communist or something, but like I understand money is necessary to make the world go around, but I just get so sick of people talking about their money. And like I listen to rap, whatever, so maybe I'm hypocritical, but like when I just hear like people on my timeline be like, oh my god, I gotta buy GME, make so much money, I'm just like, who gives a shit?
I mean, I guess it's because we're in different, like me, it's like all I can kind of think about is money, because it's like what's holding me back from happiness right now, because I don't have any.
True, maybe it comes from a point of privilege. I feel like in a different life I would like literally become a doctorate in history.
Check your privilege, Sam.
I have a lot of it. I have like a pile of privilege, and I'm willing to admit that.
Okay.
Yeah, I do. Do you want some of my pile? I'll shovel my pile of privilege and
dude, you've
catapulted off the wall.
Plenty of your pile down my throat over the years.
Jesus, that sounds. Jeez, I can't even like come back from that, man. I will say that like it's been a very entertaining week.
Yeah,
I love this shit. I love, like, I feel like, and I've talked about this with Dana offline, and we're gonna get like quasi-political, and it's like I'm only gonna call it quasi-political because we're not actually talking about like the specific left versus right, but I feel like people get besides the point when they talk about like, oh, the Democrats are doing X and the Republicans are doing Y, and it's more about the fact that like you have the average person and you have just like, I don't know, like you have Wall Street,
these
you have
billionaires,
like, just like
people that are so rich that they could like lose $1 billion and it means nothing to them. Whereas like me, if I lose $1,000, that's like my life is over. Yeah, that's what's so insane to me.
So I like to see unity and just like fuck that dude with the yacht. So I'm sorry for all the people with yachts listening to the podcast, but I've been very entertained by the fuck the yacht party.
That being said, if I had a yacht, that'd be pretty sweet.
It'd be pretty cool. We'd probably record on the yacht. Probably have like a cool sound studio in there.
Have a yacht cast.
Yeah, we'd probably like have a wallpaper made literally of holographic Charizards.
To be honest, if I had a yacht, I'd probably just sell it because I wouldn't want it. Like I don't
like boating. Fuck boating.
Yeah, it's like wet. Like you're like wearing clothes and it's like you have like shit splashing on you. It sucks.
Like one of my relatives is a doctor and he's always like, oh shit, you gotta come with my, like I don't talk to him often, but like once every couple of years, like I'll talk to him. He's like, you gotta come with my boat. We're gonna go like 4 knots down the river and we're just gonna be out there for hours. And like I don't get cell phone signal out there. Like,
yeah, dude, how many check Twitter? I haven't been checking Reddit like at all anymore, to be honest. Like
I can't because like literally every single post on Reddit is Wall Street Bets because Wall Street Bets comes from Reddit. So it's like every single post.
Not just that, it's just like over the past like probably like 4 or 5 months, like my Reddit consumption has gone down like 70%. I want to say, like I'll check it and then I'll read like a couple posts and I'm just like, it's the same shit.
Yeah, part of that's like greater reduction in my general internet consumption. Like I don't consider myself off social media, but like I've definitely been using social media less, with the exception of Twitter, which I mean I use a shit ton of Twitter, so maybe it's
can't
completely
live
false.
Without Twitter, to be honest.
I used to post a shit ton on Reddit. I barely post anymore. Like, even my mod duties I've kind of neglected. I'm sorry if there's anyone who's on the mod team that's listening, but like I've been pretty shitty regarding being a mod of the multiple subreddits I mod. But like Twitch, I'm not really watching that much Twitch. I'm like making like erratic, weird decisions with my channel points. Like I just bet like 100k points for no reason on like crazy shit.
Yeah.
Like, we're getting to the point where like I just don't care enough about the online world, and I'm just going in my little
good thing, though.
Little hole. Yeah. I feel like part of that is like a reliance on social media for like entertainment,
as
like
we're
leads you to be more
Twitter,
depressed
though,
and leads you to like not advance yourself as a person. Like I feel like I could spend 10 hours on social media and like
or
not
you can
get
spend
it.
10 hours playing games for the podcast.
Or I could spend 10 hours playing games for the podcast, or I could like read a book for an hour. Read the
What was the last
Gucci
book
Mane.
you read?
Autobiography of Gucci Mane.
Did you really read it?
I read part of it. I'm still reading it.
Was it good?
It's 4,000 pages.
Is it really?
I would love to sit here and say that the autobiography of Gucci Mane was 4,000 pages, but I cannot say that with a straight face. I'm
like
sorry.
A thick ass fucking.
It's like a fucking epic, like the Odyssey. It's like the Gucci.
They literally just take the Odyssey and just take out like
instead of Odysseus.
Instead of Odysseus, they just put in Gucci Mane. Like it's like identical, but they just have Gucci Mane.
I'd
instead.
watch that movie. I want to see a movie starring Gucci Mane where he just does the Odyssey.
But like as himself.
Yeah, does the Odyssey. Yo, when's the last time you did the Odyssey?
Gucci does the Odyssey.
I would love to see Gucci do the Odyssey. I should listen to more Gucci Mane. That's gonna be my New Year's resolution.
Yeah, I saw a TikTok the other day, and a bunch of Gen Z people were like getting into old Gucci, and it made me feel good. I'm finding that a lot of people are getting into like super old music nowadays. Like a lot of like the new generation, like they're getting into like old 3-6. They're getting into like old.
I was gonna
Mane.
say old 3-6. For some reason, I think the song. Well, there were two songs that were trending in the past couple of years that I think got a lot of people into the old 3-6. One was Slaba Manab, because that's a timeless classic. Like that,
Always.
You bump that in high school. You bump that in high school literally throughout the ages for the next 100 years. Slaba Manab, and then the other was Tommy Wright the Third.
Meet Your Maker.
Meet Your Maker.
Like that.
Yeah, that was like literally like he blew up in like 2019. So I see a lot of people getting into that music
timeless,
there.
And it just kind of goes like good music is good music, or like good production is good production. I just think like with all the rappers becoming like that emo horrorcore type shit, I think that kind of crowd has kind of gone into that kind of realm, because I feel like those kind of rappers nowadays feel inspired by a lot of that shit.
Yeah, I also feel like first of all, we can't ignore the fact that like quarantine's making people do weird shit.
Yeah,
like I'm here talking to you about like now I'm into Navajo pottery. I'm gonna admit that like maybe that was like advanced by quarantine, but like I also feel like part of the reason he's like cracking up, like what the fuck is this guy doing? But
no, I don't have a problem with it. Just the way you brought that up was funny.
Yeah, I feel like part of the reason why people are getting into older music is because all these Zoomers watch Twitch, and before the DMCA apocalypse, like all these larger streamers, they would play like what they quote unquote call boomer music. Like I got into like music. Steely Dan because I was watching Dog, the Hearthstone streamer, play it, and it's like, oh shit, this is good music. So I feel like a lot of people are getting into that because of the content creators they watch.
Do you think a lot of that's gonna like the traction of that happened because of that? But now since DMCA is getting so much worse, think less people will be less inclined to find older music? Or
yeah, I feel like part of that is going to happen. I feel like on YouTube it's not that big of a deal because they're content create. Like so more and more creators are not relying on Google as like, or not Google, YouTube as a source of revenue. They're relying on like secondary revenue streams like merch, etc. because they know that like after the apocalypse, like even if you like talk like 1 second on a controversial subject, you're not going to be able to put ads on your videos, and therefore like you're not going to make any money. So like yeah, ad revenue is still a significant portion of content creators' revenue on YouTube, but like a lot of them are just doing whatever the fuck they want with the assumption that they're going to get revenue from other sources. So with that, I could see them using cooler music.
So you have some notes that says Sam the YouTuber?
Yeah, I'm kind of the biggest deal of all time, like 40 views on my Jamis unboxing. No big deal.
I mean, I like how we were talking about thumbnails for the podcast, and I was like, oh, we need to have like the YouTuber face where we're like and that's what you did for your thumbnail.
You could shove a foot-long corn dog down my throat in that thumbnail.
Can you just stop the podcast at where it says you can shove a foot-long corn dog down my throat and just end it there?
I would love to, but we didn't talk about it enough. What is the deal with YouTube? Why don't I have 4,000 views? I don't know. Why don't I have 4 million views? Why am I shooting so low? 4,000? Come on.
I have a video with like 10,000 views.
Well, aren't you a fucking big deal? Aren't I very jealous? No, I am. So the thing is, like, I don't know. When you are a Twitch streamer and you stop streaming, like, you go through a lot of soul searching, and part of that was like me just like, I don't know.
Oh,
like,
one of my videos got taken down actually.
Ha ha. I've kind of done some soul searching since like ending my Twitch channel. I've done some soul searching while like stopping streaming, and like part of that, I bought like a 4K. I know I already have a pretty nice camera, but like it's a DSLR that like has a weird autofocus. So like I bought like a actual 4K camcorder, and now I'm just like using it with any excuse I have. So part of that was like Jamis unboxing video. I'm gonna record some stuff in the meantime, and hopefully people like it. That's all I'm going to say. Hopefully actually make people care about us, because right now it's just some random dudes that play video games and podcasts.
Because we're just duding out in Dude Town, doing dude things.
Dude.
Hey, buddy.
Yo, is that a fucking good episode or what?
Thank you for listening to the podcast. If you did like it.
All right, here's what you're going to do. 5 stars Apple Podcast. Subscribe on SoundCloud. Go to Spotify, get all your friends, and make them subscribe. Gunpoint. Basically, whatever you can do to make this podcast successful, we don't care what it is. We don't care what the means are. Thanks, gamers.
What he said, but slightly less aggressive and more loving.